Imagine this. You've been working your way up inside an organization for 20 years. All of the people you are closest with work in the same organization. Your kids go to school on the company campus. Your spouse has a job at the housing center on that same campus. Your favorite pastimes are going to the endearingly rundown bowling alley or grabbing coffee from the knockoff Starbucks or picking up a little cheat day meal from the food court. And you do all of this on campus. And then, imagine, 2 decades in, leaving behind that campus, your career, and the entire community you are familiar with. That's the shocking reality thousands of military families face every year. And while transitioning back into the civilian world can be an exciting time, the stress of finding a new career path is almost unavoidable.
Traditional sourcing tools were fundamentally not designed for non-traditional talent. They make non-traditional talent invisible. They make people with non-traditional backgrounds confusing to understand. You have to piece together their story, and it forces people into this uncomfortable position where they gotta take on risk themselves.
That's Mike Slagh, a Navy veteran and founder and CEO of Shift.org. Mike is all too familiar with the transition from military to civilian life. He's both done it himself and helped hundreds of others find their footing through the process. And it's because he's seen it firsthand so many times that he knows that this is a process long past due for an upgrade. There are always exciting things happening in the world of small business. The news that grabs the headlines, though, are always the highlights, the overnight successes, the billion-dollar IPOs, the massive exits. But just like your Instagram feed, that's never the whole story. Let's look deeper than the headlines and the press photos. Underneath all of that is the real work building something valuable and lasting. Don't get me wrong, I love crazy success stories and can be drawn into those big flashy tales just as much as the next person. But we all know that what's more important than the destination is how you get there. It's the struggles you have to overcome and the insights you learn along the way that make you who you are. So those are the stories we're telling. It's raw, it's honest, and maybe it's exactly what you need to hear. I'm Hillary Georgie, and this is The Journey. Mike's story starts in Lansing, Michigan, where at a young age, he found himself already in the trenches of business. He worked alongside his father and his grandma Betty at a toy store that the family owned and operated for more than 50 years.
I worked the cash register in summers pretty much starting when I was 12 years old. I loved counting the money. I loved calculating discounts. I loved keeping inventory. And probably by the summer between 8th grade and 9th grade, I was really involved and embedded within the toy store operations.
Mike learned a lot from Grandma Betty about business and about life. He chased the highs of securing a sale or making a deal. But Mike had to come face to face with the harsh realities of the nature of business.
It was some of the happiest parts of my childhood, but also when it was winding down, it was really, really tough. I found this new person inside of myself selling the inventory online and making it happen. I was a power seller on eBay when I was 15 years old, and I just had 1,000 5-star reviews because of all the inventory I was moving on the internet.
Mike worked hard every day to help keep the business afloat while the economic landscape changed around him. After he graduated high school, he knew it was time that he pictured a future for himself outside of the family business. He wanted to serve his community, and he toyed with the ideas of joining the Peace Corps or Teach for America. But ultimately, there was an allure about the Navy that called to him.
I didn't know what the world looked like outside of rural Michigan. I didn't know what it was like to work with people from different backgrounds. And the military is just the biggest social experiment we've ever run, period. In that, people from all walks of life and every city, state, and every part of the socioeconomic spectrum all come together and wear the same clothes and have to do the same things together for a period of time. These bonds that are formed much more about shared values and commitment to something bigger than yourself. And so I think that's one of the things that's special about military service is it's not hard to get out of bed when you have a purpose and you feel grateful to be able to work towards that purpose with a group of people that you really respect and has, You come from crazy different backgrounds, but have shared goals.
Mike spent 4 years at the Naval Academy, all the while trying to figure out what career path he wanted to pursue. It wasn't until he was at a summer study program at West Point that inspiration struck.
When I was there was a Navy explosive ordnance disposal team, a Navy EOD team that was going to learn how to jump out of airplanes with static line parachutes. And I learned that this Navy EOD team, the bomb disposaliers, like they had to do all sorts of training to be able to integrate with different military units. And I got interested in it because it was unlike any other group of military folks I'd ever met. Folks that were all about creative problem solving, hacking together solutions when you didn't have all the perfect resources around the table.
Mike knew he had found his people. He became a bomb disposal officer, a job and career that he loved. He did that for 6 years, but then, while sitting on a beach in Guatemala helping train local military, Mike's perspective shifted.
I got this subject line only email from my wife, and it was, "We're having a baby today." And that was really the time where I was like, okay, I'm so proud of what I've done. I want to be connected to these people in this community for the rest of my life. But it's time to start thinking about like what the next mission is going to look like for me.
Mike had been in the military community for more than a decade. He knew he didn't want to say goodbye to that community forever. But he also knew that right now, finding a new career path would be what was best for his family. Throughout his military career, Mike had had side projects to entertain his passion for tech and making money on the internet. And so he saw this transitional period as an opportunity to turn those passions into a career.
Moved to San Francisco without a full-time job, with a little bit of savings, with the idea that I wanted to start a company, and I really started to zero in on that idea. One of the aha moments was just the sheer amount of people leaving the military, realizing that a few years ago, we were looking at the numbers and it's like, wow, there's 1.5 million people that are going to separate from military service in the next 5 years, and nobody's paying attention to them. Nobody knows how to, air quotes, translate their skills. Very few people in the American population have an authentic and real connection to people who have served in the military. This results in just a tremendous amount of misunderstanding. And when you hear the common narratives around military service, we commonly got compared to like a labor marketplace for people who were ex-felons or people who were getting out of prison. The aha moment for me was like, wow, this narrative should be totally different. There is serious untapped potential to unlock.
He recognized a need in the market, and he was struck with an idea on how to fill that gap. After the break, Mike talks more about his inspiration for starting Shift.org, and he explains what it was like getting the business off the ground and why veterans will play a critical role in the future of the American economy.
It takes a lot to grow a business, but one thing's for certain. You've got to have a laser focus on the customer. That's why we use Salesforce Essentials at Mission every day. With Essentials, your small business has access to the same CRM tools driving results for some of the most successful companies on earth. Think Adidas, Amazon, T-Mobile, Toyota, Intuit, Marriott, and tens of thousands more. Track your business health by measuring sales, emails, customer satisfaction, and custom metrics. Go to getessentials.com/thejourney to start your free 90-day trial today.
While Mike knew that his idea of creating a career advancement company for military veterans was something that was much needed in the market, execution is never quite as easy as a visualization.
It was like we're trying to build 4 different companies at once with the myriad of problems that we were trying to solve. You know, we had like major public policy challenges and labor laws that we're working through. Like, how do you legally classify an employee who's being paid by the government, but is, you know, technically an unpaid intern in your workplace? We had a bunch of work to do with military candidates that, while they are this exceptional source of talent, often lack a great depth of industry-specific context. So we have to get people to this place where they have enough industry-specific context so they can have a conversation amongst peers instead of strangers. Then we had to balance marrying somebody who would partner with Shift, be the internal champion with Shift at a leading technology company, and then all of the sort of stakeholder management that happens after that. Recruiting is sometimes an extremely high turnover career field. And sometimes you have people that are super committed to a given initiative. It's almost like who you're working with on a given day can really impact the outcome of what you're trying to build.
There was a lot to manage, but Mike was determined and persistent. Slowly, things started to fall into place.
One of the first big things that Shift put into the world was this innovation on a Department of Defense transition program that allowed folks who were leaving the military to leave base, travel to the city where they want to live, and then start working in a corporate environment in a fellowship program at one of our corporate hiring partners that was seeking to either start or grow their veteran hiring initiative. And so like for vets, this is like the best deal ever. You get to, leave Fort Benning, Georgia on a Friday, show up in a major metropolitan job market on a Monday and start working. But it's in a 3-month fellowship. The Department of Defense is still paying your salary and benefits in order to help facilitate a meaningful and successful career transition. And so the companies aren't paying you for this time period, and companies are paying Shift to facilitate these programs. So it's this amazing win-win-win.
Mike was able to prove on a small scale that, operationally, his program was working. Veterans were getting the training they needed and being successfully placed in jobs around the world. But even with this inkling of success, Mike knew the clock was ticking. His wife was due soon, and he needed to secure a stable source of income for his family. His next step was to present this proof of concept to investors and get more capital. And that funding came through just in the nick of time.
Shift was funded the day my son was born. There we are in the emergency room, and I get the notification from like our Bank of America on the phone. The wire just hit the bank account. And wow, your life can change very quickly. This all happened in a very short period of time. I was planning to accept a job offer that following Monday, but it went from incredibly uncertain to I'm on a path. I know the trajectory that we're on and we're going to go for it. There's these make or break moments in your journey where you're like, definitely luck, 100%. And then there's other moments where you're like, it was possible because I was doing the thing that was very hard for a sustained period of time and I didn't quit. And so I think it was big parts, both perseverance and good fortune when you're in the right place at the right time.
Mike has been building Shift for a little more than 4 years now. He's optimistic about the future of Shift, but knows there is still a long way to go.
The veterans' issues that we're working through today are actually a little bit different than the ones that we were working through 10 years ago or 15 years ago. We have a group of people that have proven they can learn new things quickly, that are resilient, and they're willing to commit to a mission, kind of different than a lot of parts of the workforce today. And folks that can work with literally anybody from any background, any walk of life, people from overseas, but most importantly, from all corners of America. And there's 200,000 plus people who have these like valuable traits and attributes who enter the workforce every year. I think that veterans are going to play a critical role in the current and future economy of America.
There are so many different roles that Shift can play in that future economy, and Mike is proud of the impact they've been able to have in just the last few years. He knows there's more work to do, but also that to do it right, you have to take it one step at a time.
I think there's a big part of the excitement that is grounded in focus and saying, no, we're not going to do that right now. We can't commit resources to that area that we thought we were going to in the past. And oh my goodness, there's like so much opportunity to create impact and to deliver value. But we have to really laser in right now because we have a few things that are working really, really well. And we know that the only thing standing between us and 5 or 10x scale is having the right organization in place to support it. Some of the things that we know are secrets that have been earned. And it allows us to move forward with conviction, make difficult decisions, chart a path, make a plan, and execute against the plan. And that's where, if I look back over the last 4 years of building this company, There's no doubt anybody would say that you've taken quite an exploratory path in getting to this place where you're at right now. It's an exciting place.
And if you are a veteran who wants to join Mike down that exciting path, here's his message for you.
You go to shift.org and check us out. We are a career advancement company for military members, past and present. So whether you are on active duty service and you want to partake in what I think is probably the most exciting professional growth opportunities for folks who are seeking their first, second, third, fourth post-military career. We don't discriminate on when you left the military because we think that fundamentally everybody should get credit for their military experience, whether they've been out for 10 days or 10 years. There's always something that is special and tailored that we can provide in recognition of that service.
Career transitions happen every day, but they are never easy. Whether you're going from soldier to civilian, marketer to engineer, toy store clerk to bomb disposal technician, or anything in between, there are adjustments you need to make along the way. To quote the US Navy SEALs, the only easy day was yesterday. That's true. Every day is a challenge, but every day is also an opportunity, especially with the right organization, system, and people behind you.
Succeeding as a startup, solo founder, or any small business is an uphill battle. It takes the right mindset and the right tools. That's why we're thrilled to partner with Salesforce Essentials to bring you the journey. Managing one podcast, let alone a whole media studio, is a challenge to say the least. But Essentials makes it easy to maintain relationships and grow our business. With Essentials, your startup has access to the same CRM driving insights and results for the most successful companies in the world. Use unrivaled Salesforce technology to track customers, sales, emails, and more. You'll know where your business is and where it's headed as you chart the path for your journey. We love using Essentials, and we know you will too. Go to getessentials.com/thejourney to start your free 90-day trial today.